If you are a fan of G-Shock, then you know that the square is the one that started it all back in 1983 with a few popular and landmark square models that made Casio the go-to brand for rugged and durable watches. It's been 4 decades of continuous technological and material innovation, and they have no plans of slowing down. Then there is the modern-day fan favorite, the GA2100 and its variants with the octagonal bezel design that has earned it the name of Casio thanks to its possible inspiration from Royal Oak. Then you have the round G-Shocks with some models really standing out among the clutter. And then there is a G-Shock that exists to rule them all. They call it the King. Casio played the Kingmaker in 2010 and produced a G-Shock whose mere presence makes you wonder if this is a watch or a weapon. Let's unbox His Majesty. Namaste everybody. Say hello to the, or rather, all hail the king, the G-Shock GX56BB. The first of the models for the GX56 series was released in 2010, and this blacked out GX56BB was first released in 2016. The GX56 is nicknamed the king, which makes this the blacked out king. All hail. His Majesty looks like the true definition of rugged, has a beastly presence whether on its own, on your wrist, or when placed next to the other G-Shocks. I have a 6.8-inch wrist and the lug ends meet the edges of my wrist, and it feels perfect for me. This has 3 kinds of resistance, which we shall discuss later in this video. The GX56BB retails at Rs 11,995 in India and $150 in the US. The GX56 has a few other colorways to boast, but I opted for this blacked out variant because, you know, I love stealthy looking watches, and moreover, this was selling at half the price, and yes, this was bought from an authorized seller, and this is original. Let's take a closer look at the GX56BB for the first time on TikTok Treasures. This is an all-resin G-Shock with matte black finish that sort of accentuates the physical features of the bezel. The case is on the inside, and this outer bezel is locked onto it using screws. This uniform single-tone matte black across the bezel looks appealing. The 4 curvy pockets house and hide the buttons, protecting them from accidental presses during bumps and falls. These buttons have knurling on them that offers good grip and are comfortable on the fingertips, but they need extra pressure to operate, but that's part of the design. The case has a lug-to-lug of 55.5mm, case diameter of 53.6mm, lug width of 22mm, and case thickness of 13.5mm. Here is the comparison for size with G-Shock's GD350 and GW5000U, so you can visually tell the kind of beast the GX56 is. When you flip over to the back side, you will see a setup that is different from the standard squares or casio. This is an extra resin structure that fits on the stainless steel caseback, which adds to the rugged appearance. More on this later in the features section. This resin structure is the same matte black as the front, maintaining the uniformity. I love it. As with all G-Shocks, the crystal is mineral crystal and is tucked away into the bezel, so any drop on a flat, dirt-free and debris-free surface won't scratch the glass. Even though the case is big, the display is maybe only slightly larger than the regular G-Shock squares. The Casio branding and the button labels in white stand out, and the G-Shock Resist logo, which is part of the charm of most G-Shock faces, is missing on this one. I would rate this negative display 7 out of 10. With good eyesight, you will have no trouble as the digits are crisp, especially in daylight situations. You will need a couple of seconds for your eyes to adjust to tell time in low light conditions. The view of the time display is obscured because because of the fair bit of gap between the LCD and the crystal, you will need to see time straight on. The LCD is separated into two almost equal halves, with the top half showing date and day of the week and the bottom displaying the current time. As with all G-Shocks, the GX56 can handle the drops and the bumps because of its overall shock resist structure, but the GX56 also has the added advantage of alpha gel that the module rests on, and this gel offers extra vibration resistance. If you want to see some real-world alpha gel testing, I will paste the links in the description. You should check it out. You will be amazed. The extra resin structure on the caseback essentially prevents mud and dust particles from entering the case, and the buttons are designed for the same, to keep the muck out. We all know about the 200-meter water resistance of G-Shocks. Do we really need to talk about it in every G-Shock video? This and every G-Shock in GX56 series are solar powered. The battery level indicator is currently at medium on my watch, which means I will need to set this on a windowsill during the day for about a week to hit that H mark that denotes full charge. The light is bluish green EL backlight with only the digits lighting up, as this is a negative display. The luminescence is good to tell time in the dark. There is an afterglow that can be set to stay on for 1 or 3 seconds. I wish this had the auto light where you tilt your wrist and the light comes on, like in the case of G5600 and the GW5000U. When you're riding at night, all you have to do is take your wrist off the handle, tilt, and the light comes on, but this doesn't have it. It's a drawback. You can set the watch to power saving mode that turns the display off when stored away in the dark. It comes on when you get your hands on it and when there is light shining on it. This is the main timekeeping mode with time and date display. Now we have the world time with 31 time zones that includes 48 cities. Here, whichever city is set as your preference can be accessed in the main timekeeping mode by pressing the adjust button once. Very handy feature. Next is the alarm. You get 4 regular daily alarms and 1 snooze alarm, and you can even set the hourly chime on or off. Next is the stopwatch, pretty standard, followed by a 24-hour countdown timer. The strap is resin with the same matte black as the rest of the watch. The strap with 2 rows of holes is longer and wider than the ones in traditional squares, and hence you will need the right wrist size to pull it off. The buckle is dual tang buckle made of stainless steel, and in keeping with the matte theme of the watch, it has a sheen to it. This is one sturdy buckle I have ever seen, fit for a king. On the back, the tongue and groove situation makes it fit almost seamless with the case. This is a king and a beast. As I mentioned earlier, you will need a large wrist to pull this off. When the GX56, especially this blacked out version, is on your wrist, it might appear to others that you may be on a revenge mission to take down the mafia that killed your dog. This is a great sports watch that can also go with your casual attire. Here is my advice. Don't get this G-Shock if you have thin, lanky, skinny wrist, because part of owning a watch and wearing a watch is the aesthetics of it. If it doesn't look good, it might not make you feel good, so don't get it, even though this is a super practical watch. In conclusion, the G-Shock GX56BB is not a toy. It's a weapon. The highly durable build and internal structuring offers greater shock and vibration resistance compared to other G-Shocks. The buttons are hard to operate, but that is part of the design that makes it mud resistant too. Even though this particular model has a negative display, it is still practical with basic digital watch functions with a decent EL backlight. It is solar powered, so a full charge will last for years with regular use, and this is not meant for skinny wrists. Thank you for joining us today for the unboxing and showcase review of this beast, the G-Shock GX56BB. Please like, share and subscribe, and let a friend know about this beast. If they have a large wrist, let them know. And remember, the giveaway draw will take place on Monday. Until then, stay tuned and stay classy.